In this episode of the Tech John, we discuss Apple's reversal on possibly integrating Anthropic or OpenAI with Siri, Hertz using AI to scan for rental car damage, a U.S. version of TikTok coming out September 5th, and Black AI minstrel shows have begun. This is episode 185 of the Tech John from Columbus, Ohio. I'm your host, Robb Dunewood.
And coming out of Philly, it's your girl Tech Life Steph.
And out of Atlanta, this is Terrance Gaines, a.k.a. Brother Tech, a.k.a. Mexico won against United States in soccer. So I don't know if that's going to be a launching pad for some other stuff or not, but people were upset. So I watched soccer and I didn't watch the game, and it kind of got spoiled for me because I'm on the news. I mean, I'm on Apple News looking for stories and things like that. And I saw, oh, Mexico beat against USA. I was like, dang, I was going to watch that. So now I know the ending, so I ain't going to watch it. But there is a controversial play that didn't get called. And as a result, let me not say that. There was a foul that could have been called that, based on the situation, was not. And United States is pissed. And I bet the Mexico people are like, y'all deporting us away from the United States, but at least we can win in soccer.
Well, here's the question, because I don't know anything about men's soccer at all. Couldn't name a player on the team if you showed me pictures of them. That being said, were we expected to win?
Well, yes, because this year they've got some new kids, some young folks, some fresh faces, and they're making an impact. In soccer, it's very hard. If you're not the guy, right, it's very hard to come into soccer and immediately start to change things. These young kids that are in there now are starting to change some stuff. And as a result, they had a shot to win this event. It's called the CONCACAF. It sounds goofy, but basically it's like a regional group of United States, Mexico, Canada. Think of the North America, Canada, and Mexico, and some islands. Mm-hmm. That's our little group. And we play amongst each other, and we have this Gold Cup that we win. Typically, the top teams in that go on to play in FIFA next year. So this year's CONCACAF is almost like a preseason to FIFA for North America in those groups that I mentioned, all around the world, to say, people who win this, or the top teams that are going to win this, typically going to look good next year in FIFA. But specifically, as a result of these recent climate between United States and Mexico, this one had a little bit more on it. And the fact that Mexico won, there's some USA folks that are not too happy about that.
Yeah. They'll get over it.
Yeah. I'll ask one question about American soccer. Have we gotten to the point to where our best athletes are playing soccer that are,
what do you mean? I'm not sure what you mean.
I've heard before that one of the issues as to why America, being as big of a country as it is, has just not really ever done well in soccer is because our best athletes don't play soccer. They play baseball, they run track, they play football, play basketball. They're not actually, from the time that they're real little, playing soccer, because as soon as they get identified as having any type of athletic ability, is like, oh, you need to go play football, or oh, you need to go play baseball, or oh, you need to go play these other sports that are not soccer. So we just don't keep good athletes. Like LeBron James was never going to be a goalie playing soccer. He was always designed to be a basketball player. No matter how much he would have liked it as a kid, that's what he was going to be steered into, just because of his size and athletic ability. Although I've been told that he would be a ridiculous goalie with that size and that speed. So I'm just wondering,
well, goalies. Well, LeBron James is an exception because he's a freak athlete in any sport. Mm-hmm. So in basketball, they're like, yo, you need to get out of basketball. So I don't know if LeBron is the good example of that. But if you're asking, does soccer in general or American soccer?
American soccer.
American soccer, yeah, they've got the athletics. It's just they don't promote it as much because it's not as promoted. I mean, I'll just leave it at that. Soccer in the United States is not as promoted. They've got all these, which is why I put my son in soccer, because it's like, all right, I don't want you to be stressed out at the age of 8 trying to AAA travel ball super league. Now, don't get me wrong, soccer is super competitive, and my schedule says it's super stressful, right? But at the same time, the basketball and the football, that's all we know over here. So
I
everybody's
think
doing it. Go
I
ahead.
would say women's soccer probably is a little more popular here
Here in
Oh,
than
America,
yeah,
yeah,
yes.
because they're
than
good.
men's.
I mean, they're great.
Yeah.
They win.
Well, that's what I'm saying. So are you asking, are United States soccer not good? United States men's soccer is not good because the men suck, or are you saying it because the sport itself is not popular in the United States? Because I give you that soccer ain't in a popular sport, so people don't play it.
Yeah, just
I would argue against them not being athletic, them not being athletic as other sports in America.
okay. And I was
Mhm.
just looking for like the exceptional athlete, the exceptional athletes. Do they get funneled to other sports instead of being allowed to grow up in?
Oh, no, 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 no. Soccer is an organization early.
Okay,
Like I said, my son is in one of them organizations at 8.
okay,
But they're not like seeing them and saying, "Oh man, you'd be good at basketball," and yanking them out and putting them in basketball. No, they in the system, just like football. There's a system, Jack, and they funded them in the soccer system. But it's not as to me. It's not as stressful. Soccer is like you really got to love soccer to want to practice versus unfortunately basketball and football. That's how our family making it.
okay,
We all going
okay.
to punch our ticket on this one guy going pro, right? Versus soccer, it's almost like these guys got to love it because it is hard and it ain't as popular.
Right.
And that brings us to the conclusion of the Soccer John with Terrance Gaines. So, y'all, we are a tech show. And so let's get into some of these tech stories, because even though it was a holiday last week, we did have quite a bit of tech that went on. And the big story for me was this one coming out of Apple, where it looks like Apple might be doing an about face or reversal. They've changed their mind, whatever you want to call it, on using third party LLMs, in this case, Anthropic or OpenAI, to power Siri. Whereas before it was going to be they were going to build all this stuff internally. I've been saying for a long time, Apple is so far behind. I just don't know that they can catch up. But it looks like now that they are acknowledging this and are absolutely looking at using potentially Anthropic or OpenAI to power the next version of Siri that's supposed to come out in 2026. And I think the reason for that is so that it does come out in 2026.
Well, real quick, Apple has had discussions with both companies for LLMs that can run on Apple's cloud infrastructure for
Mm-hmm.
testing. That's a little different than the on-device Siri. So I just want to make that clear amongst the people listening. All right, go ahead, Stephanie.
No, I was just going to say we may need to go back and splice in a clip from 2 episodes ago or something. I'm sure I was like, well, we're going to have to I'm sure I said something contrary to this.
No, I remember.
Yeah.
I think me and you both said Apple won't buy a company. It looks like Apple is just asking from this story. Rob, you can correct me if I'm wrong. Apple is considering like partnering with Anthropic and OpenAI to let them power certain
I didn't even
versions.
see that happening though, honestly.
Oh, okay.
I actually did think Apple was going to,
Tough it out.
amaze us and delight us as they tend to
I'm
do
still keeping up hope.
with their with their own
Version.
yeah, with their own
Mhm.
AI bot or whatever. Yeah, yeah, listen, I business is business at the
Yep.
end of the day. I think you just gotta think about that bottom line. To Rob's point, you gotta think about how far behind we are, how much effort and investment are we willing to make and play and catch up with all of this. So I mean, it is what it is. We'll see if they,
Fold anymore.
if they fold or if something does happen. I would love to see how Apple would innovate in this space. It seems unfortunate that maybe their best years of innovation may be behind them. I don't know, but I would love to see how they innovate in this space. So
I think most people did want to see how Apple was going to innovate, because we are off to the races as far as what everybody else is doing as far as AI. And we just personally, I'll speak for myself. I just knew Apple was going to be like, yeah, we're going to go along that line, but we're going to go this way. And I thought that this way, what most people thought was Apple was going to build something in house on their devices And then maybe I think the argument was if you want to do stuff on the cloud, it's not as safe, not as secure, goes against our ethos, our mantra, we'll farm that out to somebody else. And they started that road, and the other stuff, we'll farm it out. The other stuff is working just fine. But the first part, the inner part,
Right.
ain't working all that hot. But I think,
Right.
like I said, I can speak for Stephanie and say we just knew. Well, I still feel like Apple's going to figure it out. But the way the reports are coming out, Apple may be put plan C in place just in case.
There seems to be a lot of things that are just not in Apple's favor right now, because your boy Mark Zuckerberg, he's hiring everybody. And we talked about this last week. He's hiring everybody that is like somebody in AI to bring them over to Meta to get their stuff on point,
to collect some checks.
And the rumor is that he's offering $100 million. It's like,
I would take it. I would take it too, and not do nothing.
AI person, I really like the thoughts you have. Come over here and keep thinking them, and here's a check for $100 million.
That's crazy. That's absolutely insane.
So, like I said,
I believe that this is well, let me not say that. I'm pretty sure that people have made amazing things and built teams that have went on to build amazing things, but I also believe that Mark Zuckerberg is like, we need some press in here. Let's drag these people, not drag them. Let's offer these people, make them an offer they can't refuse, whether or not we use their information or not. But we need to lead this we need this headline that we're plucking all these people. Now, I don't put it past companies to pluck people because they do it all the time. But also, I'm like, Zuckerberg is like, yeah, I ain't.
And it does feel very. I just watched. This is like a complete sidebar. What was the movie on HBO? Mountainhead. Is that the name of it?
I don't have HBO.
Hold on. I'm gonna tell it. It was a.
What's the plot?
It's a parody on yes, it's called Mountainhead.
Oh yeah,
Steve Carell's in it.
It's on Apple TV Plus, isn't it, or is it on HBO?
I saw it on Max.
So
but it might be on Apple TV Plus as well. But I did see it on Max, and it's basically like a parody. These 4 tech titans, if you will, go have this weekend retreat at the one tech bros,
compound,
mountain home. Isolated mountain home. And basically the world is burning down around them while it happens, because the one guy who owns an OpenAI type company just built a video generator that has caused chaos around the world. Literally everybody is, thinking that these videos are real and civil wars are breaking out. And the other guy, one of the other tech bros, has developed a tool that is very, very good at detecting AI generated videos, and he wants to buy his company. The other guy wants to buy his company because their shareholders are getting nervous. People want to get rid of him because you've literally,
caused all this
instigated the downfall of society, basically. Yeah. So there's a whole lot of little subplots going on in there, but I feel like it did capture sort of the competitiveness and the detachment from reality, honestly, that a lot of these people probably live in right now. And the idea, so I say all that to say, the idea that Mark Zuckerberg would offer $100 million to somebody feels very much like this, like completely detached from reality, only doing it to one up the Sam Altman or whomever, you know what I mean? They don't have the grounding in reality to understand that $100 million is an insane amount of money, because it's not a lot of money to them. And so they can say, yeah, here's $100 million, do it and live in a world where this kind of thing is just a normal part of doing business. So if you haven't seen Mountainhead, check it out. It was actually, I won't say it was good necessarily.
Is it a short, or is it like a?
It's a full length feature. Yeah, it's a full length feature.
Sure, okay, got it.
No, it's not a series. Right. It's just a movie. But it definitely gave you some insights into what is probably true about the mentality of
and how they
folks.
move.
Yeah. And then when you watch it, you can kind of try to guess who each person is supposed to be in the actual tech space. So it's an interesting movie.
looking at just like off-season basketball moves and stuff like that, and there's a lot of people who are really upset with LeBron James right now because LeBron James signed this was called a player extension for like 52 or 56 million dollars. The money that the Lakers said, hey, if you play for us, this is what we'll give you. And he says, okay, I'll take the money that you offered to me. And people are mad that he's actually done that. But the thing is,
As opposed to what?
as
As
opposed to
opposed to
him, oh,
retiring?
you should have just retired, or you should have just opted out, and then we wouldn't have signed you back to a contract, and you could have gone somewhere else. And it's like, why would I not get the money that you said you was going to give me? Is kind of where I think he's coming from. But the thing is that for 1 year, they're paying him, like I said, I can't remember if it's 52 or 56 million dollars, and he's not even the highest paid person. It's like you look at what's the dude that just won the MVP and just won the championship from
Giannis?
Oklahoma City,
No, SGA.
SGA. He's like pushing like 70 million a year to play basketball. And when you think about these sports organizations, they make a lot of money, but they don't make meta money. They don't make OpenAI, the kind of money that OpenAI is in the process of generating. They don't do those kind of numbers. So I can absolutely see if you're going to get someone who is, let's say that this is a top 100 person in the world in what they do in AI. Well, if you're a top 100 basketball player, you're going to be $100 million if you play in the NBA. So, so I can see why, someone who has those kind of resources like Mark Zuckerberg would say, the old saying is that if you can't beat them, join them. But when you got that much money, if you can't beat them, buy them so that they join you. And, since we're talking about movie references, I'll go one. What is that movie with Adam Sandler where he thought he was a billionaire, but it was actually, someone else that was one, but I think it was called Deeds or something like that. And
I'm not going front. I do not like Adam Sandler.
But there's a
Mr. D. It's Mr.
Mr. Deeds. At the end of the movie, what is it? John Turturro's character says, how about $1 billion? He's like, okay, I'll take it. And it's like, I think that is what's happening here. It's like, how much money would you like to come and do this? 100 million? No problem.
But that's my thing. I don't even think, look, I don't put nothing past nobody. And I said this, me and Nika talked about this last week on our show. I don't give them smart dudes as much credit as everybody else do. I think you got to look at the teams. You got to look at now they were probably good at building a team that did X, Y, and Z. But again, these celebrities and these entrepreneurs and these founders, I've heard time and time again, when you get in the room and talk with them, they are some idiots. So my guess is you asking, bringing this dude over here who did this and that and the third. Again, I don't know none of these people. So if I'm talking out my neck, check me. But, these people that they brought over, it's like, did you bring their whole entire team over? Did you bring the whole department over with them? Or did you just pay this dude because he was a part of this, or he led the team that did that, or he was instrumental in providing the resources that let the team do this, or did the dude actually do it? Again, I don't know.
Right.
But
because those are two different things.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Are you bringing over an infrastructure, or are you bringing over just a name?
Yeah, I can't even think of his name, but Ilya Sutskever, who is one of the founders of OpenAI, who went to go start his own company, I believe it's called Super Intelligence. Their CEO, he just left. He just went and he started his last day at Super Intelligence was like the 29th or something of last month to go over and work at Meta for untold, millions of dollars. And I think that's what's happened. It's like, hey, we have the money to do it, so we're just going to buy our way to the top. And to bring this back around to Apple, those aren't Apple moves. Definitely partnering with an Anthropic or with an OpenAI on allowing it to do the stuff that you were trying to do in-house. That's not generally an Apple move, but I'm just wondering, have they gotten so far behind that, let's just do this. If nothing else, let's just hedge our bet just to make sure that we can release something.
It may just be an interim step. You know what I mean? I think they are aware that they need to do something, and let's do this now, continue to work on our own shit, and then bust out with something, the new hotness,
hopefully
in a couple years when we have it perfected and something that is gonna truly revolutionize how people are using AI on their phones. So we'll see.
Hopefully, maybe it's just, I think what Apple's trying to do is just taking a long time, and people are like, That's time we ain't got.
Well, yeah, shareholders are like, listen, we gotta sell these, we gotta sell this 17. You know what I mean? So yeah.
So keeping it with AI, Steph, you have a story here. You was trying to get out of it, but I said no. You got to tell the personal stories. Those are the stories that our listeners tell us they like the most when we are talking about stuff that has actually happened to us. So tell us about how Hertz is now using AI to scan your car and how you might not be been a factor of that scanning.
Yeah, I saw this last week and maybe even a week and a half ago or something, and I was just like, I just feel like this is probably going to affect underserved communities a little bit more stringently than others. So Hertz is introducing scanners that use artificial intelligence software to scan cars before and after they are rented to more accurately and quickly assess damage. Hertz aims to add the equipment to 100 locations in the United States by the end of 2025. A report from The Drive said that a reader who experienced the system was asked to pay $190 in processing and administrative fees to repair a roughly 1-inch scrape on a wheel. So they have a partnership with a company called UVI, aiming to have the scanners at roughly 100 of its roughly 1,600 airport location by the year's end. The first systems have already been implemented at Hartsfield-Jackson Atlanta International Airport. The technology uses cameras and machine learning algorithms to comb over the vehicle's body, glass, tires, and undercarriage for damage and maintenance issues. The scanners replace the need for manual inspections, and Hertz says they bring improvements to the frequency, accuracy, and efficiency of the scanning process. So they literally, the device kind of looks like a little mini car wash almost, and the car rides through this thing, and all of these scanners, get the sides, the top, underneath, the tires, everything else. AI, does whatever AI is going to do, and this is what you're being judged on when you bring this vehicle back. And I'm just like, this is crazy. So the customer who had to pay dropped their car off at the Atlanta airport and received a damage report identifying the scuff within minutes. The report listed the charges: $250 for the repair, a $125 processing fee, and a $65 administrative fee. So basically, you're paying for the scanner
Yep.
and the cost of Hertz using these scanners now. But and so it's one of those things where you have this technology that's better than a human, because a human probably would not have seen a 1-inch scratch on a wheel when you brought that car back, and it wouldn't have made any difference to the operation of the car, to the aesthetic of the car. The car would still look new and in good condition. A manual, a person would have just walked around the car and been like, okay, I don't see anything that's jumping out on me
That's
on
important.
the body. Right. But now all of a sudden I'm paying $250, $125 processing, that $65, yada, 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 because of this AI. So I think, is there a situation where we have too much technology to our detriment? And this sounds like one of those times.
I'm not going to say the name of the company because I can't remember if it was Enterprise or Hertz, but one of these companies I had an issue with years ago. And fortunately, a company that I used to work for, we had a policy that whenever you get a rental car, it started off, the policy was you just take pictures. You go around, you take pictures of, like, we wanted 8 pictures of the car. So you had 4 on the outside, 4 in the interior, just to make sure that nothing crazy was going to come back. And that saved me. And now it is just habit that when I don't rent cars nearly as much as I was then. It was 2-3 times a week back in the day. Now it's maybe once or twice every quarter. But I just take a video where I will walk all the way around the car before I pull off, and I'm looking to see if there's anything there. And I've twice had, a car company, like I said, I can't remember which ones it was. I won't say a name of any of them, but I've had twice where I've you're telling me that this is my damage, but I'm showing you the picture before I took the car away. So it wasn't my damage. It was
Right.
your damage. And in both cases, they worked it out because clearly, what else were they were they going to do? But if I wouldn't have had the picture in one case or the video in the other case, I probably would have got a charge. So this is one of those things to where you can use all the AI you want, but I need to see the scans. Like, download that scan to me so I can have it before I drive up out of here, because I just don't trust you to tell me that
Right.
this was
And
caused by me.
with it as inaccurate as we know AI to still be, who knows if some hallucination or glitch or is going to add something to the
Or it could be,
scan or whatever.
I'll say, or it could be true, or it could actually be a rock jumped up out the highway and nicked the side of the car. But
Mhm.
who's charging for that? The
Right.
Hertz people ain't. That is not, like you said, Steph. It's not compromising the ability to drive the vehicle. And most of the Hertz people know is like, if you don't disrespect the car, you be all right. They
And I
charging
think
people.
there
Go
is
ahead.
something for normal wear and tear, right? Like to your point, like rocks fly up and, so now we have to be responsible for normal wear and tear and acts of God and whatever else might happen to a vehicle. Like what if it hails and I get caught in a
Yeah,
hailstorm?
exactly. I was
Is that my fault now? Like that's crazy.
They want you to pay for that insurance, baby. They didn't
Right.
they didn't created
Right.
the problem, and now they providing you the
And
solution.
now they provide you to absolutely.
no.
Well, if you get our insurance, then you'll be I guarantee you're exempt from that AI scan if you get
This is
their
why I'm a
insurance.
cynic. This is why I don't trust people, because of this.
Listen, you nailed it. You hit the nail on the
It-
head, boy.
this I don't think this is even a stretch. We weren't getting enough people to sign up for the insurance. Oh, we can go
Mhm.
put a however many $1 million AI system in place. It will find something. Literally every time somebody brings a car back in here, it's gonna find something.
It's gonna
It's
find
impossible
something.
not
It's gonna
to. It's
find something.
impossible
Yep.
not to.
Yep.
So this is
That's crazy. So yeah, so this sounds like a big old insurance scam.
Body.
now. I want to be
Dang.
clear. If you get a rental car and you don't get the insurance and you cause some damage to the car, then that's on you. Like, and like, well, somebody they rammed the car with a shopping cart. It's like, you need to go talk to the shopping center that you were in. But if you didn't get the insurance, that's not Hertz's fault. But a
Right.
scratched rim is going to cost somebody over
Right.
$400 for
A
less than
1-inch
one
scratch
scratch,
that would be literally,
imperceivable
unintelligible
by
to
a
the
human,
naked eye.
would have never
Yeah.
noticed it. Yeah. So yeah, it's they gonna get their money. That's just kind of where we are today.
Right.
So they gonna get their money.
And Hertz need to
Mhm.
get their money back too, because they went all electric crazy, bought all them Teslas, and then Elon Musk was acting up, and they're like, wait a minute, now they need to unload all these Teslas because they ain't nobody renting them, and they cost too much money to maintain. So
Mhm.
Hertz is trying to scramble and to get their money any way
Doing whatever
possible.
they can do. Yep.
Because that was Hertz, right?
Hurts.
With Tom Brady and
Old girl
yeah,
from Molly.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Mhm.
yeah, her name's not Molly. But yeah, they was running them crazy, electric, 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 and the stories come out. Electric cars ain't renting, but now Hertz is on the books because they got all these Teslas. So now they know, all right, we need to figure out the next grift to get this money back that we lost. So let's invest some
Bruh.
more
Speaking of
money.
grift,
Yeah.
for the
Bruh.
grifter in chief, do you think that anybody is looking at what is happening to Elon Musk right now? Which I shed crocodile tears for for Elon Musk right now. But do you think that anyone is learning from the cautionary tale that you cannot do business with this dude?
No. No, not at all. They will
Because
not learn the lesson
it's
at
Well,
like,
so
all.
but here's the thing though. Elon is the person to test that theory. And we'll see how serious he is about this third what do you call it? The American
Third party,
party.
yeah.
We'll see how far he's willing to go to throw money at a problem before he realizes, let me just pick up my ball and go home. But
It's
we'll see.
probably
this
for
is
the
what
best.
surprised me about the whole thing. Your boy Mark Zuckerberg was in like a cabinet meeting, just standing back at a cabinet meeting like last week. I'm like, dude, did you not just see what happened to Elon Musk for trying to deal with this dude at this level?
Bring in the next sucker.
Right,
It's like,
right.
light him
Bring
up.
him in.
It's like shooting fish in a
And
barrel.
they all think they're smarter, and it's not gonna happen to
Not gonna
me,
happen to
and
me,
yeah, I have enough
and this
money and
time it's gonna be
enough.
different. Them black
Yeah.
ask them black preachers and them black pastors and Omarosa and them after Trump was done with
All
them.
in
You don't
them.
see none of them no more.
Not a
Mm-mm.
single one. But y'all, speaking of Trump, something that he's been doing is extending these TikTok bans, but maybe he won't have to extend it yet again because a new US version of TikTok is supposedly coming out on September 5th. And the deal here is that they're going to have a US based coalition of buyers for this that are based outside of China. And it looks like they're still trying to get Chinese approval, the Chinese government's approval of this. But I wanted to, see what you guys are thinking on this, because my question is, I only see stuff about an app. I don't see anything about an algorithm, and I'm still struggling to see why would ByteDance ever sell their algorithm to a US based company, and if they don't do that, how do they get all this stuff to work? Because I think one of the things was that we want to get the data out of China. But if that algorithm doesn't leave China, then how does all this stuff work?
So there wait, I don't understand. So an American company is building
So
it?
so
Did I
no
miss
so
that
so
part?
ByteDance right now is in the
Oh,
process of
itself.
building a US app. And what's supposed to happen is that this app will be out by September 5th, and they will once it becomes available, you will no longer be able to download the TikTok app. You'll only be able to, within the United States, download the TikTok US app, whatever they want to call that. And once you do that, that app, eventually, I believe it is sometime next year, I think in March of next year, they will cut off the old app. So you will no longer, after I believe March 5th of next year, be able to use the old TikTok app. You will only be able to use the US app here in the United States. Now, what has also happened is that, Trump has come out and said that there is a buyer for this. The deal is going to get done here in the next couple of weeks or so. And my question is like, okay, what deal is going to get done? Because I just can't see ByteDance selling their algorithm. That's their secret sauce. And
Yeah.
you building an app and hosting data other places is great, but if the data still has to go through through ByteDance in Beijing because of the algorithm, that's not going to fly. And also,
And then too, is this gonna be a walled garden? Like, if you're on this new app, are you not going to be able to communicate
Interact.
or interact with people on the original app, or do business with anybody outside of the United States? Because that's the thing. It's like it's the business owners that are really going to suffer, because you're doing global business right now, and how are you going to cut that off? If in fact that's the goal. I mean, I guess maybe it's just a matter of where the data gets housed, but the data's allegedly already being, housed in the United States. So this is, yeah, I don't know that this is the
I
solution,
have no answers
honestly.
for this, because all those questions are
Yeah.
valid. If you currently upload to the regular TikTok app and you're doing stuff like let's say it's not uncommon for folks in the UK to sell stuff here. It's not uncommon for folks here to sell stuff in the UK, and you're doing all that stuff on TikTok Shop. And now there's TikTok Shop, and I think Japan just launched a version of it there. It's an international application. So
Mhm.
if you have this US tenant, like you said, are you able to interoperate? None of those questions at this point are being answered. I guess we're going to have to wait until September 5th to find out. But I'm saying what I've
You
always
you
said.
gon you
I
gonna
just
wait
don't
that long?
see why
You put your
would
money
why would
you can put your money on the
ByteDance.
September 5th, date. Is that where you waiting to get this more information in
I'm
September? You think
hoping
it's coming?
it'll give us something to talk about on this show. I'm wondering how this is going to
Yeah.
work, because here's the thing. I do know this. And I said this on another show this morning. American folks are fickle when it comes to their technology. If it comes out and it's US based and it works exactly the same and you don't see any difference, everybody's going to probably be fine. But as soon as there's something that you were able to do on the old app that you can't do here, or there's some type of we can't operate in the same way. As soon as that happens, you're going to
Mm,
get folks
I don't
here that are
even
going to be poo-pooing this
I
It's
app
don't
not
I
even
beyond
don't
belief.
see
that's
that,
what I'm saying.
because you're not porting millions of followers
Well,
over to a new app. Like,
so
I don't know. I
so there's this term called weaponized incompetence. Are you familiar with this
Mhm.
term?
Yes.
This is what TikTok is doing. Oh, we're gonna build another app. It's gonna be crap. People gonna be like, man, we ain't never touching this app again. They're gonna push for TikTok and ByteDance and be like, exactly. Exactly what they doing.
Well,
Putting together some crap
there's just
just so
no
they can
way
appease.
to make this make sense. You know what I mean? Like I say, when you start looking at the creators on that account that have those huge followings, those people aren't just in the United States. You know what I mean?
And they're not gonna start over.
Right. Who's starting from scratch building a following? Like, I mean, I guess I look at um with all of the creators that were on Vine. There were a lot of creators on Vine that had millions of followers doing numbers that did
Mhm.
have to build, start from scratch. So it's been done. Obviously, we
Like,
have precedent, but I don't see it getting done here because Vine wasn't the same type of e-commerce based platform that I think a TikTok is. And you just can't decimate somebody's customer base like that, in one fell swoop.
I wonder if one of the things that they might do is the app's going to work pretty much like it used to work before. Everything's being funneled through, Project Texas, because Oracle is one of the companies rumored to potentially be in this group that might buy the U.S. version of TikTok. Is it just they just got a kill switch? Can somebody hit a is there somebody sitting in a room with a red button and a key, and all their job is to, if we tell you, you put your key in, you open up this thing, you hit this red button, and it just shuts off TikTok from the rest of the world. I don't know. I'm being somewhat facetious in saying that, but not really. I struggle to see how a US app, unless it
a US
has
only up.
complete access in the same way that it does today to that algorithm, that is going to be the TikTok that people know and love. And,
Yeah.
and that's where I'm struggling. It's not that you couldn't build a TikTok here. It's just that
But Rob,
if you're going to still call the thing TikTok, if it's still TikTok and it doesn't feel like TikTok, then it's not TikTok any longer. And I think that's
don't
the problem.
struggle. Don't struggle. This is vaporware. It don't exist.
You might be right.
So why struggling over something? They're not gonna build this thing. And if
Yeah.
they
And
try,
and
it's gonna be crap
and,
and
and
people are gonna revolt.
honestly, to Terrence's point, about weaponizing competence, they could stretch this shit out until this administration is gone
Mhm.
and we get a new administration in there that may flip this on its head. And you know what I mean? Like you can stretch this out for as long as you need to, honestly.
Mhm.
And I feel like that's what they're trying to do.
I'm sitting here thinking, it's like you probably have some folks in between the government of China and ByteDance that are in a room, and they're sitting there looking at each other and giggling. It's like, all right, let's put 15, 20 people on this, build a new app, and let's make them jump. Let's see what this fool does.
Puppet day.
let's just see. So because maybe they want to get a better deal on tariffs. I don't know, but it's just like, I just don't know. Here's another thing. Nobody's ever asked me to run a multi-billion-dollar social media platform. So maybe there's some things that they're doing that I just don't think of and don't know about. But I do wonder, if you do not get the algorithm, which I haven't seen any reporting that that's part of this deal. Maybe it is part of the deal and we just haven't seen it. But if that's not part of it, how does this all work? But you know what? We will probably find out exactly what the answer to this question is in about a month's time.
Mhm.
And I think I'm with you, Terrance. I'm thinking that this thing might not even have an actual install window. It might be like the old the old Windows installers where it was like 7%, 14%, 21%. They was just images. It wasn't actually installing. It was just every so
Never
many seconds it
there.
showed you another GIF of to make it feel like something was moving. That's kind of what this potentially could be here.
Yeah.
All right, Steph, this last one here is yours. And you had me watching Instagrams and reading Wired articles. You got to tell me about what's going on with AI, particularly Black AI, and how it's becoming a minstrel show.
Yeah. So first of all, I have to shout out one of our listeners that brought this to my attention. UK Hollywood. I can't tell. They don't have an avatar, so I can't tell if it's a male or female or they. But UK Hollywood hit me up a few days ago and said, "Hey, Tech Steph from the UK, been listening to the Tech John since episode 1. Would love to get you and guys' take on this. Love from London." So just to put out there that the Tech Zone is
International.
international, I had to make sure we got that in there. But they had inboxed me a video from National Black Guide. It was Morgan DeBon, who runs Blavity and Afrotech and
Hmm.
a bunch of other companies. Travel Noir, I think, is under her umbrella now as well. Does a lot of videos around AI and what's happening and things like that. And she had posted something where she was talking about how Google VO and other AI video generation tools are now putting out content of mainly black women in very stereotypical kind of misogynistic misogynoir uh just awful content. And there's one account in particular, and I'm not going to name the account because I don't want to give it any more energy than it already has. But there's an account on TikTok that is basically a gorilla that is fashioned like a black woman, with lashes and hair and nails and all this other stuff, and speaking in AAVE and just the grossest stereotypes you can think of that have been attributed to black women. But this account has 18.6 thousand followers as of right now, and is getting traction and engagement. But again, it's different AI generated, and AI influencers are a thing. AI influencers are a thing, and a lot of people making money not doing anything, basically writing prompts. But this particular brand of AI influencers seems very targeted, very
Purposeful.
deliberate, right?
Mhm.
Very intentional.
Mhm.
Against black women. And obviously a lot of people on TikTok stitching and giving their thoughts on why they think this is. And I mean, the casual answer is racism, and misogyny together. But it just irked me, because it's just like, why can't y'all just leave us alone? Like, black women are just out here minding our business,
Because
being
people
the most educated,
pe
opening up the most businesses, like living our
that's
best
why.
lives,
That's
and
why.
like, just leave us alone.
They are threatened is not the word, but this is no different than, well, not no different. This is the problem, and I'm not going to get too political, but it's about to be mad political. When the government is cutting all of these government um groups and these offices and these buildings and these services that do all these things, people are okay with it because they have a picture of the person who is leeching or mooching off the government. The reason why images like this, like Stephanie's talking about, is so kind of like, well, it's whatever, is because people are used to this picture in their mind when they talk about certain things, right? You can go all the way back to Ronald Reagan when he did the whole welfare queens,
Hmm.
and that image that people have ever since then is like there's this group of people who are uneducated, they're not interested in working, they're not interested in being any sort of value to society, and additionally they are actually sucking from society, and they're taking your ability to do X, Y, and Z. I think this is an extension of that. And unfortunately, black women are that boogeyman that people use as either a joke or as a reason to to protest because they feel threatened by y'all.
It's exhausting though. It's
Mm,
literally like went down. I didn't want to absorb too much of that into my spirit, but I did go down a little bit down a rabbit hole watching some of
mhm,
these videos, and it's just like, seriously, y'all,
mhm.
like everything you can do with technology, everything technology is capable of doing, and this was the thing that somebody thought to write a prompt to do. Like, it just like, who would have even thought of that? You know what I mean? And why would you have thought of that? It just is such like a low, it's such a low IQ, a low
Move.
intelligence
Yeah.
Mhm.
way
Mhm.
of
Listen,
taking
Stephanie,
advantage of the technology. It's just insane to me.
people who voted in this previous election, they know exactly who their target is, and they're like, "Oh, that's the type of person that is this video is going to do well for. Let me feed it. Let me feed it. Let me feed
Mhm.
it." So, talking about people's intelligence, I don't know if that's going to work because the same people who are loving these videos are the same ones that are voting against their best interests. So it's just like the people know the game, and unfortunately, it's like, how do you fight something like this? When the image is there, the thought process, and then the method with AI, it's just easy to
Right.
feed these people.
I
Right.
can't remember which president said this, but and I'm not getting this quote exactly, but he said something to the effect that if you can convince the lowest white man,
I think that was Lyndon
you might
Johnson.
be right. If you can convince the lowest white man that he is somehow better than the highest black man or something like that, I know I don't have the quote exactly right. That you basically you can do
You
pretty
can
much, you
rob
can
him
rob them
blind.
blind. In fact, they will give you their money as long as they feel
Mhm.
like they are somehow better than someone else. You have you have a whole group of people to look down upon.
All
And
right, it says if you can convince the lowest white man he's better than the best colored man, he won't notice you're picking his pocket. Hell, give him somebody to look down on, and he'll empty his pockets for you.
yep, that's the
Facts.
quote. And
Facts.
that's what a lot of this is. That's what a lot of this is. There's the picture of the black woman being the welfare queen. And that's why we have to kill this. It's like one of the smallest, like, not one of the smallest, we're one of the biggest, demographics, in the country, at 14%. I think, Latinos are around 20. So we're the number two minority in the country at this point. But it ain't like 60, 70%. This is like a small percentage of people, and you paint a picture of all of them, because up until relatively recently, you could go days in your city or town without ever seeing black folks. You can go multiple days. I mean, it's not hard to, it's a lot harder to do that in 2025 than it was to do it in 1965. But 1965 is not that long ago, to where you just didn't see black folks because they were on their side of town and they didn't intermingle with you. There was segregation, there was all this stuff. And because of that, you could put these stereotypes out, and you didn't know any better because you didn't know any better. This is what the government's telling you. This is what, our elected officials are telling us. So this is what your perception is. And it's really crazy, because you said this: black women are the most educated and the biggest group of entrepreneurs in the country. And I would imagine, not on this show, but if we said that on some other shows, people wouldn't believe it. They would think that we were lying, telling them that.
Right.
Well, you can't
Right.
trust those numbers, the numbers from the government.
Fake fake news, right, right. And it just highlights once again the need for digital and media literacy, uh, education in schools, for adults, like, because these videos, besides the gorilla one, these other videos, there are some tells still in them. The AI is still not 100%. So if you're looking at some things, like I saw the one girl was like eating, and like the chip disappeared. I was like, what happened to the chip she was eating? But so there's still some tells, but they look astonishingly real.
Mhm.
And so we really have to, while Google VO and these other app generators aren't doing the best job at labeling these things as being AI generated, um, we have to be much, much more discerning in the type of stuff
Mhm.
we engage with, the type of stuff we share. Like, cause like we don't even need to be sharing this stuff at this point. Like, and I feel like, I get the outrage. But even to stitch something for the clicks to say how bad it is still perpetuating the
Mhm.
nonsense. You know what I
Because
mean?
they seen the numbers and they seen the
See,
analytics
they've
and
seen
they
the
see,
numbers.
come on, man. Come on,
It's like
man.
I will not be posting any of these videos. I will not be reposting any of these videos. I think I might have posted Morgan's reel to my story,
Hmm.
possibly, but I'm like, I'm not gonna engage in, the nonsense, perpetuating this type of imagery, across the internet. But we really, really got to do a better job of media literacy and digital literacy.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
In our real world, this is what we have: people making these fake videos with these horrible, horrible images. Yet across the street, you've got the actual sitting president of the United States in Alligator Alcatraz talking about, you know what we need to do. We need to bring back farmer responsibility. In fact, we need to bring owner responsibility. And what is he talking about? The people that you're going to the restaurants and to the hotels and to the fields to round up and put them, in ICE detention centers, loaning those same folks out to the farms, to the restaurants, to the hotels to work. And oh yeah, they're going to pay taxes, but they will have no way to become citizens. And it's
No.
like, so
Convict
so
leasing. Yeah, sounds a
so
lot like slavery.
farmer responsibility. So
Sounds like
that's
what they
new
doing in
term for
Alabama right
slavery
now.
now.
So
Right,
this
right.
ain't no stretch because they doing that in Alabama right
Yeah.
now with their
Convict
prisoners.
leasing is a thing, and it's
Mhm.
been a thing
Mhm.
since the beginning of this country. It's crazy.
But the
It is
folks are
crazy.
bending over backwards to say he didn't actually said what he said with the words that came out of his mouth. But anyway, Steph, you put something in here we haven't done in a while. We have not had a spotlight in a minute, but you threw one up in here. So tell us what you have
I
in.
felt like we needed to end on a little good news. Yeah, it's always something going on. Like let's try to shine a spotlight on something good happening. So I wanted to highlight Fireflies.AI because they just became a unicorn. That is not, an easy thing for a group that, before founders of color. So I was kind of excited to see this. And Fireflies.AI, the AI meeting assistant used in 75% of Fortune 500 companies, has reached a $1 billion valuation following its first tender offer, in a move that signals a new era for workplace productivity tools. The announcement coincides with the launch of its latest innovation, Talk to Fireflies, a voice activated AI meeting assistant with real time web search capabilities powered by Perplexity. For remote teams juggling constant meetings and tight decision cycles, instant access to reliable information can be a game changer. Fireflies is betting on this unmet need. Rather than toggling between meeting apps and web browsers or postponing decisions due to missing data, users can now speak directly to Fireflies during meetings and get sourced answers on the spot, freeing up time, reducing friction, and boosting informed collaboration. With its new Talk to Fireflies feature, the San Francisco based company enables participants to interact using voice or chat in over 60 languages across Zoom, Google Meet, and Microsoft Teams. By integrating Perplexity's web search technology, Fireflies gives users real time access to online information without ever leaving the meeting environment. Talk to Fireflies lets people search the web in real time and get answers about the current meeting. For example, a late joiner can ask, "Hey Fireflies, what key decisions have been made so far?" Or a team can find information by asking, "Hey Fireflies, what are the market growth projections for AI meeting agents?" Said Fireflies co founder and CEO Krish Ramaneni. Ramanetti, yes. This turns Fireflies into your most knowledgeable teammate. Perplexity's chief business officer, Dmitry Shevelenko, added, "Meetings are where critical decisions happen, but they're often information poor environments. By integrating Perplexity's search capabilities into Fireflies, we're eliminating the need to switch context or postpone decisions as workers move to question first problem solving. Fireflies was founded by Krish Ramaneni and Sam Udotong, who met while studying at the University of Pennsylvania and later at MIT. Ramaneni, originally from India, worked at Microsoft before co-founding Fireflies. Udotong, a Nigerian American with a background in aerospace engineering and computer science, brought a deep technical skill set and a passion for making communication more efficient. The duo launched the company with a vision to eliminate the friction in meetings by automating note-taking and surfacing institutional knowledge. Diversity has remained central to the company's DNA, with a globally distributed team of 100 employees across more than 20 countries. Firefly's valuation increase stems from a tender offer rather than a traditional funding round, which provided liquidity to long-serving employees. Unusual for an AI startup, the company has remained profitable since 2023 and hasn't raised primary capital since 2021, despite maintaining triple-digit year-over-year growth. We wanted to recognize our earliest employees who've been vital to Fireflies' journey. Reaching this significant valuation milestone while remaining profitable validates our approach to building an AI company differently from the conventional raise big, burn fast playbook. The AI startup is backed by top-tier investors, including Khosla Ventures and Canaan Partners, blah, 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 blah. And I think the rest of this is just more kind of talking about that particular product. But I just wanted to shout out Fireflies because it has two founders of color, and they just became a unicorn. So Fireflies.AI.
So here's the question.
Doing it.
Do you think that they stay independent, or do they get snapped up by a Microsoft, an Oracle, a Salesforce?
I mean, there is a such thing as an offer that you can't refuse. And Microsoft got that kind of money, you know what I mean? So I wouldn't be mad at them depending on the offer. But I hope they do their best to maintain their
Yeah,
ownership
I
of their
wonder, because
company.
when I was looking through, just what this company does and how big it has gotten, how quickly it's gotten as big as it's gotten, it's like,
Mm-hmm.
that fits right into Microsoft Teams. That fits right into Slack. That fits right into HubSpot. HubSpot's probably not big enough,
Mm-hmm.
but Salesforce is. There's some companies that technology would look real good with a Microsoft logo on it. That are probably thinking
Right.
that. So I wonder if in the not too distant future, because if they're $1 billion now, they'll be significantly more than that in a year.
Mm-hmm.
I wonder if this is a company that you might see get snapped up for acquisition.
And I mean, it would make sense, and it gives them the opportunity to build out new companies, to the employees to be financially independent. Like it, you would kind of be not ridiculous, but it probably wouldn't be the better option not to sell. Like I said, depending on the offer, you could just do so much with that kind of money, and we just don't get those opportunities enough. And while they are still sort of number one, obviously they're in 75% of companies right now. There are other companies coming up fast, doing the same thing, so this valuation may not hold forever. They may be overtaken. So it would make sense to, not necessarily take the money and
To
run,
have the
but be
conversation. To
right,
have
but be smart about entertaining an offer that's going to set you up in a way that will, kind of set you up for life. So I wouldn't be mad at that at
it
all.
could be a thing that just stands on its own, because I would have thought that Slack would have been snapped up by now by another company that does similar things, and it hasn't. It's become its own thing. It is now a giant company. So we'll see. This is one that we will definitely keep an eye on. But folks,
Yep.
before we get to the end of the show, I do want to give a couple of shout outs, and I just realized I didn't even put it in the rundown here. So I'm going to go look over Patreon right fast, because we had a new patron, and I want to make sure that they get their shout out, because I think their name, I'm not going to guess. I'm just going to go look. I'll just tell you here in a second.
Shout out to our patrons. Patreon.com/thetechjaw.
or the techjohn.com/Patreon. They both work.
Patreon. Exactly.
So Pete, I'm glad because I was going to say a different name. So I'm glad I went to look. So Pete became a patron on the 5th. He did this, I guess the 5th was Saturday. So I saw that when I was, getting in this morning. So, we got a new patron. And here's something that has also happened. So we definitely want to give Pete his flowers because Pete has signed up to become a patron and is actually supporting us financially. So Pete gets the shout out. But we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 in the last week other free patrons who have signed up. So they aren't supporting us, but they are, kind of in the family because they can now get the updates and stuff like that, from us as well. So I've been seeing, a fair number of free members have been signing up. So we welcome everybody, but we definitely shout out the ones who are supporting us financially to keep these lights on and these cameras running.
That's it.
So Pete, thank you so much for supporting the show and holding us down. And it's time to go ahead and get up on out of here. So Tech Life Steph, tell folks how they can get at you.
You can follow me all around the web at Tech Life Steph or head to my website at stephaniehumphrey.com. Hey, new merch drop. Shameless plug. I just got some new merch.
Oh, what's good, fam? Okay.
A little avatar of myself. So there's some Tech Life Steph merch in the merch shop. And you can sign up for my newsletter as well at stephaniehumphrey.com.
And you can find me all over the internet at Brother Tech. That's BROTHATECH.
And I am at Robb Dunewood on all the things. And we're also at the Tech John, the Tech JAWN on all things. So come holler at us however you holler. Until we meet again in a week's time. Peace.
Peace.